After over a year of thinking the Miyoo Mini Flip was just around the corner coming out next month, I finally got my hands on one, so I've been using it a bit today and I wanted to give my first impressions of the new Miyoo Flip, of course Miyoo's new clamshell handheld, one of the few that we've really seen. So before this we had the RG35XX SP, we had Retroid's somewhat failed, now discontinued clamshell handheld, of course there's the Powkiddy V90, and those are the main ones, so everyone's hungry for new clamshell handhelds, and now finally Miyoo has one out. So this is the Miyoo Flip, and getting it out of the box, you can see it has a really nice looking box. From what I saw other people unboxing it, it seemed like theirs came open too, so I don't think it's been tampered with or anything. I think this is just how they're shipping them out, because you do get a nice little protective case, which I probably won't be using too much, because kind of the thrill of having a clamshell handheld is just tossing it in a bag and not worrying about scratching your screen or any other kind of damage. But you do get that, and it doesn't seem to fit in the box very well. So inside of the case, you get your standard accessories you'd get from Miyoo. You have your charger, you have a micro SD card reader, which isn't normal for most brands, but they do give you one if you need it. You get a screen protector, which is nice. Maybe not necessary again because it's clamshell, but you can use that if you want it. And of course, we have the handheld itself. So I was pretty torn between the different colors, but I decided this gray one was probably the best for me. Right now, there's 4 different options out there. A lot of people aren't happy with certain ones, especially the yellow one. We might even see more colors come out in the future, that's not unheard of, but right now these 4 are what we have. So here's the Miyoo Flip. So before I open it up, I'm going to show you what you get on the outside. On the bottom you have a headphone jack, a USB-C port. On top you have your shoulder and triggers, which I'm going to talk more about the controls later, but you do have those up there, along with a USB-C port and video out. On the left you have your volume and one of your micro SD card slots. That's where I put the included micro SD card. For some reason they don't ship it with the card actually in the handheld, it comes in its own little plastic case. And on the right we have another micro SD card slot, our power button, and our 2 power indicators. So now opening it up, you basically have 3 positions for the hinge. One of them is probably going to be the standard one you're going to be playing in most of the time. The second one is basically having the screen be at the same angle as the main body of the handheld, and then the other is actually where the screen is positioned, actually pointing backwards, kind of behind the handheld a bit. So you can experiment with these, which ones you like. Maybe it'll depend on the lighting, if you're outside, etc, etc. So I know a lot of people are concerned about the longevity of the hinge, especially with problems that have been had in the past, especially with Retroid, but I know some people with certain models, I think more so on the transparent ones of the Anbernic RG35XX SP, they've mentioned cracks in the hinge and stuff like this, so it's always a concern for people. No one wants their handheld breaking. I can't say too much about the longevity of the hinge right now because I've only had the handheld for under 24 hours. I would say I think it'll be good. It doesn't feel noticeably low quality or anything. That might not be in any way indicative of how long it'll last. But the other things I can say about the build quality of the handheld, I would say it generally feels okay. You know, it feels good, I guess. I could say pretty good. It definitely doesn't feel great. It uses a soft kind of feeling plastic, which some people might like and some people don't. I like the feel of it generally, but it doesn't feel super premium. I'm not saying it feels super cheap necessarily, but it definitely could be a bit better. But at the same time, I'm not saying it's so bad, don't buy it, Miyoo messed up, nothing like that. So before I mention the controls and then get into the emulation, I'll just mention a few things that are relevant. We have a 640 by 480 3.5 inch screen, the same kind of screen that I think is in the Miyoo Mini Plus. I'm not sure if it's the exact same screen, but it's going to be the same size, the same kind of screen that's in the RG35XX SP, the same 480p 3.5 inch screen in the sense of the resolution and size. Not that it's necessarily the same screen, but the same type of screen is everywhere. I would say it gets decently bright. I haven't done a ton of testing or anything like that, not really any comparisons, but for me it seems to get the job done. But if you're someone who's playing in the daylight constantly, I really can't tell you too much information on that. Maybe go and check out what other people are saying about it so far, but for me it seems to be pretty good. This handheld does come with Wi-Fi, but for some reason, as far as I can tell, no Bluetooth. There's no indication of that on the box or the manual or in the settings, which seems kind of strange because it does do video out through mini HDMI, but they're not going to give you Bluetooth to connect a controller. I'm not sure if that's some kind of hardware limitation or they just wanted to save money. To me, that seems like a really strange choice because a lot of people like connecting these to their TVs and using a Bluetooth controller. It adds so much functionality, so it seems strange not to have that. Of course, you probably could just play with the controls on the handheld, but a lot of people might not want to do that. I haven't tested it yet, but I would assume that you could. So to talk about the controls a little bit, there's some things that I really like and some that I don't. So I'll mention first what differentiates the Miyoo Flip from its competition here. We have 2 sticks on the bottom, and I would say generally they feel pretty good. They get the job done for any game I've been using them in. There's nothing to write home about. They're not Hall sticks or anything. The one thing I will say is with them being on the bottom, it definitely can be a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you're playing games where you're going to need 2 hands on the sticks and then your fingers up on the triggers. You'll have to hold your hands in a somewhat awkward and uncomfortable way. Maybe if you have really big hands it would be fine, but for me, I wouldn't want to play a game like that for extended periods of time. You can do it, you can reach, but for me it just wasn't super comfortable. But for certain games like N64 games or arcade games where most of the time you're just going to be using 1 stick, I would say it gets the job done and there's nothing too uncomfortable about them. So then we have our D-pad, which is somewhat of a clicky D-pad, but it's definitely not as clicky as we had on the RG35XX SP. I actually like the D-pad. I don't love the way it looks, and I was kind of nervous about it because the first time I saw it, I and many others actually noticed it's kind of skinny compared to most D-pads. It just looks kind of cheap and weird, but it actually feels pretty normal. When I'm using it, I'm not thinking that it feels weird or is too small or anything. It gets the job done, and when it comes to clicky D-pads, often I'm pretty picky with them. Like I actually didn't like the RG35XX SP D-pad. It was too clicky for me. It was too hard to hit diagonals, but with this D-pad so far, it seems easier to hit diagonals, and it's not too rough or sharp or anything like that, which can be the case with some. I would say I do like the D-pad. It's not probably my ideal D-pad, but it's pretty good. I don't have any big complaints about it. Again, it gets the job done. As long as there can be a clamshell handheld that doesn't make any huge mistakes, I'm basically fine with it, and I'm cool with things that aren't my favorite, but so far I'm pretty happy. And then our ABXY buttons, they're actually kind of interesting. At first I didn't like them because when I started using it, I noticed like, wow, these are really easy to press. They require very little force actually to be pressed, and I still do think that, but I have gotten used to them, and they have a very light, soft, clicky feel, which does feel pretty good. I gotta be honest, I like them. I like the way they look with this color, and after, like I said, some getting used to, I've come to like them, but definitely compared to other buttons, they require much less force to press, and that's a common thing with this handheld. It's even more the case with the shoulders and triggers, at least for me, that they require so little force to be pressed. Actually, so little force that many times I've accidentally pressed them just when holding the handheld, adjusting it. I accidentally press one, and most of the time that's not going to be a big deal. A lot of the games you're going to be playing, there's probably not going to even be any function for the shoulders or triggers anyway. So yeah, for me, it feels too easy to press them that I would like. It's nothing that bad. You can avoid it, and it's not like even if you accidentally brush it, you'll press it, but it is pretty easy to press them by accident. And the same thing actually can be said about the power button on the side. That one I do think is kind of strange how easy it is to press in. I had it in sleep or hibernate mode, I think, for a while doing some testing, and then I picked it up to just look at the back, and my finger accidentally brushed it, and I pressed it, turned it back on. It was a total accident. I think I actually did it twice if I remember right, and yeah, it's just too easy to press. And I might be a little bit worried actually about this handheld in a bag or something like that, in your pocket, accidentally getting pressed if there's something else in there. Maybe that's kind of irrational, I'm not sure, but it does seem like you could accidentally press it in way easier than I would like. I'm not doing any testing on this. I know some people put them on scales and try to test how much pressure is needed. I don't really have the capacity or the desire to do it. It's not a deal breaker, but for me, ideally, especially the shoulders and triggers and power button would require a little bit more pressure to actually be able to press. For me, the most important out of all these is the D-pad, which is good, and the buttons, which are pretty good and I've actually come to like. And with everything else on the front and the top middle, we have our menu button or function button or whatever they're calling it, and on the bottom our start and select. So now turning it on, actually in the menu, we have our different pages here, pretty standard stuff. We have recent, we have favorite, we have game, we have RetroArch, we have our app, and settings. Some of these should probably be in the plural, but it's cool. The recent is just your recent games or apps. Favorites, it's going to be your selected favorite games. Game, this is where all of your systems are going to be. You can pick whichever ones you want to play, and some of them will launch through standalone emulators, also some through RetroArch actually. And then RetroArch, you might have some different emulators in here, which definitely will be in RetroArch. One thing I noticed, I'm not sure it's for every single system, within RetroArch, you actually go into the RetroArch menu and it's in Chinese, but when you launch it through game, even if you do go to RetroArch through that, it's going to be in English. English. I think there would be a way to change that, but that is there, and yeah, you might have to do some tweaking, and that's actually a common thing for this handheld, things being in Chinese. I'll talk more about that in a bit. So let's just get the emulation out of the way. So according to Miyoo, this has an A55 in it, which is, as far as I can understand, going to be basically an RK3566. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with some handheld that has an RK3566 in it, so the performance isn't going to be too shocking. I would say it's pretty good and definitely more powerful than what you're going to get on a handheld like the RG35XX SP with the H700. It's mostly comparable, but when it comes to especially PSP, Dreamcast, N64, I think you're going to get a bit more performance here. So I'll just say it can handle a lot on N64, Dreamcast, PSP. I'm going to give you some specific examples, but everything below that is going to be good. No concern with that whatsoever. So if you want to play a lot of Game Boy Advance here, which is understandable because it is modeled after the Game Boy Advance SP, it's going to get that done well. It comes with that fake Game Boy Advance logo like we saw on the Anbernic RG35XX SP as well, and it has some pixel effects as well, and you can turn all this off if you want. So that is there if you want it, and Game Boy Advance is going to be good. It comes with fast forward as well. So of course for N64 we have two sticks, which wasn't present on the 35XX SP and is very helpful. The performance for the N64 is pretty good. In some games I was getting a bit of stuttering here and there, but otherwise would perform well. I do think that I should be getting a bit better performance than this. I really have done very little tweaking, so I'm sure with more tweaking and then in the future with custom firmware, I'm going to discuss the possibilities of that in a second, but in the future I think this will get a bit better. But I would say right now a big portion of the N64 library is playable. It doesn't come with a huge game collection or anything, but of course you can bring your own ROMs over later. And then there's PSP. So PSP actually plays really good on here. I was very happy with the performance. Here I am playing Nova. Right now it is stretched to 4:3. Of course, if you don't want to do that, you can bring it back down to 16:9, and yeah, it's not going to look super great on a 3.5-inch screen. It's going to be pretty small, but if you want to be more authentic and don't like the stretching, that's perfectly understandable. And here in GTA, the performance is actually pretty good. In areas commonly that you'll experience a lot of slowdown, there wasn't really any here. There were a few moments where it slowed down a little bit, but I'm playing this here with no frame skip at all, so I'm sure with frame skip that would iron it out. Again, I haven't played the whole game or anything, but I would imagine that it could be played pretty well here. So knowing that, I would say a big portion of the PSP library will be good on the Miyoo Flip. Again, I don't love playing PSP on smaller screen 4:3 handhelds just because the view is going to be pretty small, but if you don't mind that, I would say this is actually going to be pretty good for PSP. One thing to note though is all the settings for PSP are going to be in Chinese, so here I am switching it back to English. You can use this as a guide to follow back, and yeah, once you do that, everything is going to be in English. And that's the case for a lot of stuff on this handheld. I don't have a guide for switching everything back to English because I didn't try, and some stuff I don't think you can change back. That may be changed later on from Miyoo, and with custom firmware going forward, we're going to get much more English there. But I would say the vast majority of stuff here is in English, and you shouldn't have to worry about not understanding it. And then there's Dreamcast. The Dreamcast performance is fine. Most games are going to be good and playable. Some I wouldn't be surprised if you experience slowdowns in. Of course, you can always do things like use frame skip or even lower the resolution below native if you want to play a game that isn't playable. And I wouldn't be surprised that with custom firmware we could get better performance, like I also said with N64. And then there's Saturn. So I'm a little bit confused when it comes to Saturn. I was expecting better performance than what I got. I actually heard other people that already have their Miyoo Flip talk about it, and they claimed they were getting far better performance on the same games that I tested. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to be representative of what everyone's going to be having. I might have changed a setting. I really don't think that I did. I looked and I didn't see anything that seemed wrong. So what I changed around then later didn't seem to make too much of a difference. So right now the Saturn performance for me is really bad and totally unplayable, and a lot of the games weren't launching at all, which I'm going to talk about more. That is happening with some of the stock games on other systems as well. But yeah, Saturn for me was just a totally bad experience. Nothing I tried was playable. Maybe some of the easiest to run Saturn games would be okay, but yeah, for what I tried, it was just totally bad and unplayable. But you might be able to get better performance on Saturn. Saturn often gets neglected, so for a lot of people that might not be a deal breaker or anything, and maybe you're going to have good performance on Saturn actually. So if you have a Miyoo Flip, let me know down in the comments what your experience is with that. And other than that, it of course comes with a ton of different games. We have stuff like Nintendo DS, which is good, Pico 8, which I'm sure will run well. For some reason, none of the Pico 8 games were opening for me. I'd imagine I just need to change the emulator or something like that. But this is just a first impressions video I wanted to get out fairly quickly, so I didn't mess with anything too much there. This also comes with a lot of ports. The games that were in the ports 32 folder did not work at all for me. None of them opened. Again, maybe there's something you could do to mess around with them to get them open, but I'm honestly fine with that. I think it is somewhat concerning to have all these modern ports on here. I just don't want to have this emulation scene be in the crosshairs too much, and having a lot of the types of games on here like they do would bring more negative attention to the scene in general, so I'm all for avoiding that, as others have already said before I did. But in the app section, you do get some ports that do work. I don't play a ton of ports personally, so I can't really speak for the Balatro. I think that's how you say it, Balatro. I really know nothing about that game. I know a lot of people really like it, but I don't know how to play it whatsoever, but it does seem to work at least. There's also Half-Life in there. So here's me using the 2-stick setup. Like I said earlier, it might be a bit awkward using the triggers and both sticks at once, but you can do it if you want to play a game like that on there. So yeah, at least you know this handheld is port friendly. So then you have your settings over here. If you want to, you can just use Emulation Station. And then within the settings, there's also stuff like different themes you can use and pretty standard stuff. Nothing too out of the ordinary, except like I mentioned earlier, you're missing Bluetooth, because as far as I know, there is no Bluetooth on this handheld, which I find pretty strange. So all in all, my first impressions with the Miyoo Flip is it's a really good handheld. I know there's quite a few negatives that I mentioned. There's definitely things that I don't love about this handheld, but to be honest, just simply the fact that it's a clamshell handheld that's not horrible, I can say it's really good, at least for me, and I know a lot of other people think the same way. There have really been so few clamshell retro handhelds. That's why so many people are excited about the Miyoo Flip as compared to how many people were excited about the Miyoo A30. They're both fine handhelds, don't get me wrong, but simply the fact that it's clamshell just automatically in my mind makes it like twice as good as I would otherwise think it would be if it was just basically a Miyoo Mini Plus or something. It's like, okay, another handheld like this. But the fact that it's a clamshell, it has sticks, it's relatively powerful. In my opinion so far, I think that it's the best option that we have for clamshell handhelds that's still being manufactured today at least. So from what I understand right now, custom firmware is in the works for the Miyoo Flip. I can't say anything specifically about it now, but I would imagine that it's going to bring a lot more functionality to the handheld, improve performance, especially on Dreamcast, N64, maybe Saturn, I don't know, but yeah, these things I think will be improved, and who knows what we'll see. So I'm really excited for that, and I'm sure I'm going to be covering it at that point. One more thing I'll mention that does seem to actually work well is the hibernate function, or sleep, whatever you want to call it. When you close the handheld, after a few seconds, the green light turns off, and from what I can tell in this state, the battery is actually preserved pretty well. I had it closed for maybe 2-3 hours, and it really only seemed to lose like 1 or 2% battery. Maybe that's just simply too good to be true, and the battery indicator is a little bit screwed up. That does happen on a lot of handhelds, so I'm not going to say for sure. I'm not doing any in-depth battery testing here, but it does seem to be pretty good from what I can tell. Again, this is just my first impression of it. I would say generally the battery seems pretty decent. It's 3,000 milliamp hours, so definitely I would like to have a little bit of a bigger battery, but for what it is, I think it should be enough for most people. I would expect maybe 4, 5, 6 hours of battery life, depending on what you're playing, brightness, etc., etc. So overall, like I said, I like the Miyoo Flip, and I hope going forward the handheld continues improving. So my hope for the future is that we keep seeing more and more clamshell handhelds, and we can say, yeah, the Miyoo Flip for its time was good, but we've gotten even better today, whether it's better price, better performance, just some new feature that I'm not even thinking of right now. I don't know, but I think for what it is right now, the Miyoo Flip is really the best we've got, and I'm just so excited for a clamshell handheld. So if you're interested in buying the Miyoo Flip, I'll put a link down below in the description where you can check it out. It's an affiliate link. It comes at no extra cost to you to use, but when you buy through that link, it really helps support the channel. At the time of me making this video, it's sold out, but I expect soon there will be a restock. I was really surprised there wasn't yet, but I'd imagine soon there will be. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.